everybody, it's Glenn back in this video as 31 horror toys in 31 days continue as we go back to 2001 for Toy Biz's Mutant X Bloodstorm. Mutant X was a comic published by Marvel between 1998 and 2001, not to be confused with the TV show of the same title. As we now look at the card back, you can pause now to read the wordy premise on the back of the card at your own leisure, or I could just cut the long story short by saying it was the story of the consciousness of Alex Summers, aka Havoc, from regular Marvel continuity being transported to a parallel dimension to occupy the body of that dimension's Havoc, who led a team of twisted versions of the X-Men, including the woman we know as Storm, but in this dimension had been transformed into a vampire and calling herself Bloodstorm. As we look at the promotional image of the Bloodstorm figure on the card back, commit that to memory as when we open this action figure we're going to play Spot the Difference. Joining her in this series were the Fallen, him being that dimension's angel, albeit with bat wings, the Goblin Queen, and the aforementioned protagonist Havoc. Now, the idea of a vampire Storm might seem like this comic jumping the shark, but it actually relates back to a comic from years and years before. That being Uncanny X-Men number 159 from way back in 1982. That comic saw Storm briefly transform into a vampire. As we look at the comic cover, we see her fellow X-Men cowering in the shadow of Vampire Storm, while in the background she brandishes her fangs, laughing like a maniac. And responsible for that transformation was, of course, Count Dracula. Mwahahaha. Yep, him of my previous video. See, these 31 days are all connected. Well, at least at this point anyway. Come, say, day 21, I'll be grabbing the nearest horror-ish action figure I can reach and thrusting it in front of my camera. Anyway, that transformation only lasted for that issue as her fellow X-Men battled bravely to save her soul. That is in the regular Marvel universe. However, in the Mutant X parallel dimension, she remained a vampire. And when she got peckish, she sucked on Kitty Pryde. Seriously. And the look we get here is basically Storm's punk look that we're familiar with from the comics, albeit with the mohawk swept back into a ponytail. Do we call that a pony hawk? Then in the face sculpt, of course, she's a vampire, so we get the obligatory fangs, but then I think more alarming is that her signature whited out eyes have become red. Then it seems like they've misprinted the decal of her eyelashes on her left eye, and her eyelashes are taking a wander down her cheek. And now for that game of Spot the Difference that I promised, and firstly and more minutely, if you look at her left hand on the card back, it's changed from a more clawed one into a less clawed one on the actual action figure. Then much more obviously, I don't think you have to be that eagle-eyed to notice that on the card back her jacket is sculpted, whereas in practice it's fabric. I wish they'd have gone ahead with the sculpted look, as I think on this scale the fabric coat just looks a bit clumsy, but of course it can be removed, so let's see how that looks. So they're flashing a bit more flesh for sure, but certainly also showing signs of being made 15 years ago. So although made in the year 2000, to me she reeks of the 1990s. Just 2 years after she was released, Toy Biz reimagined their game with Marvel Legends, and as such she represents a last hurrah for the pre-Legends era. An era that's typified by her articulation, so her head rotates and then her arms just rotate at the shoulder, single-jointed elbows, rotation at the waist, and then curious leg articulation at the hips, and then single jointed knees, and then hinges at the ankle. She also comes with a display base repurposed from Toy Biz's earlier generation X line. So that's Storm as a vampire. Now just what will those crazy folk think of next? Wolverine as a werewolf? Oh. Anyway, click one of these videos if you missed day 1 or day 2 of 31 horror toys in 31 days, and stay tuned for many more days to come. I hope to see you next time. Bye.